The growing threat from Russia and China is forcing NATO to negotiate the deployment of nuclear weapons. The alliance admits the possibility of removing some nuclear missiles from storage and putting them on high alert. This was stated by the Secretary General of the alliance. According to Jens Stoltenberg, Beijing is investing significant funds in the creation of modern weapons. China's nuclear arsenal will increase to 1,000 warheads by 2030. Meanwhile, according to experts at the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, China is building up its capabilities faster than other nuclear states.
What we have seen over the last years and months is a dangerous nuclear rhetoric from the Russian side. We have seen that Russia has announced that they have deployed nuclear weapons to Belarus. And we have also seen some more exercises, nuclear exercises from the Russian side. We also have to bear in mind that we don't only face nuclear challenges from Russia, but also from China, which is now heavily modernizing their nuclear capabilities.
SIPRI's estimate of the size of China's nuclear arsenal increased from 410 warheads in January 2023 to 500 in January 2024, and it is expected to keep growing. For the first time, China may also now be deploying a small number of warheads on missiles during peacetime. Depending on how it decides to structure its forces, China could potentially have at least as many intercontinental ballistic missiles as either Russia or the USA by the turn of the decade. Although its stockpile of nuclear warheads is still expected to remain much smaller than the stockpiles of either of those two countries. From a report by the Stockholm Peace Research Institute.
Analysts of the Stockholm International Institute note that in 2023, diplomacy in the field of nuclear arms control, quote, has suffered even more serious setbacks. Since March 2022, the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant has been occupied by the Russian troops. Threat of nuclear war have been occasionally coming from the Kremlin. The Belarusian dictator Lukashenko claims that the Federation has handed over several dozen nuclear warheads to his country. On May 21, 2024, the second stage of joint exercises between Russia and Belarus began. The military is practicing the use of non-strategic nuclear weapons.
In fact, so far, there are no final confirmations whether nuclear weapons are actually located on the territory of Belarus at all. But what is certain is that Lukashenko doesn't have the actual nuclear button. It is one thing to place missiles somewhere. It is another thing to give the right to some politician in another country to use them. And I think it is quite obvious why Putin doesn't give his nuclear weapons to someone else, because he accumulates them for himself.
Iran is another source of nuclear threat, International Atomic Energy Agency notes. Earlier, the agency's Director General, Rafael Grossi, argued that Tehran is, quote, weeks rather than months away from building an atomic bomb. In response to Russia's allies, NATO has a policy of deterring nuclear threats. The 32 members of the alliance are known to be modernizing their arsenal.
NATO's nuclear deterrent is our ultimate security guarantee and our ultimate deterrence. And this is something which is developed over many years, the nuclear sharing arrangements, where the United States has nuclear weapons in Europe, but where allies are providing the planes, the storage, the command and control, the support to make this an effective and secure part of NATO's total deterrence and defense.
NATO did not specify what the West's response to the possible use of nuclear weapons by Russia and its allies may be. According to the leaders of the G7 countries, the consequences for the Federation will be serious. Reported by Anastasia Tarnavska, Larisa Petruk, UATV News.